and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS, presenting to you the daily quiz for 21st of December 2022. As you all know, we are now on Telegram. To join our official Telegram channel, you can scan the QR code given here or click on the link given in the description box below. So do join our Telegram channel if you haven't already. Now let us begin and take a look at the first question for today. The type of fog that is formed as the warm, moist air moves horizontally over a cool surface, causing the water vapor to condense is option A, radiation fog, option B, freezing fog, option C, advection fog, option D, valley fog. What is the context? This article in the Indian Express newspaper today talks about the Delhi fog. And that is why we will discuss about various different types of fogs in our session today. See, the radiation fog usually occurs in the winter. The cooling of the land overnight by thermal radiation cools the air close to the surface. This reduces the ability of the air to hold moisture, allowing condensation and fog to occur. To make it more clear for you, let me explain. See, this type of fog forms overnight as the air near the ground cools and stabilizes. When this cooling causes the air to reach saturation, fog will form. The fog will first form near the surface, thickening as the air continues to cool. And Delhi is experiencing fog mostly because of this phenomenon. Coming to valley fog. Valley fog forms where cold, dense air settles into the lower parts of a valley, condensing and forming fog. This is often the result of a temperature inversion, with warmer air passing above the valley. Talking about freezing fog. Freezing fog occurs when the air temperature drops below freezing until water droplets in the fog get supercooled. These supercooled water droplets usually stay in liquid state until they come into contact with any form of surface they can freeze on, right? Now coming to advection fog. Advection fog occurs when moist warm air passes over a colder surface and is cooled. A common example is when a warm front passes over an area with snow cover. Please note that this is also very common at sea when moist tropical air moves over cooler waters. So the right answer to our question here would be option C, advection fog. Moving on to question number 2. Consider the following statements with respect to Unakoti. Number 1, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site located in Tripura. Number 2, the site houses Shaivite rock carving figures and images of gods and goddesses. Number 3, Ashokashtami Mela is organized at Unakoti once in 5 years. How many of the given statements is or are correct? What is the context? This article in the Hindu newspaper today has a reference to the 3 new additions to the UNESCO's tentative list of World Heritage Sites. What is this tentative list? See, this tentative list is a list comprising of those properties which each state party intends to consider for nomination as World Heritage Sites. And which are the 3 new additions to India's list? Number 1 is the Sun Temple at Modhera in Gujarat. Number 2, the historic town of Vadnagar, and number 3, Unakoti in Tripura. With these 3 new additions, India now has 52 sites in the tentative list. Let us discuss more about Unakoti in today's session. See, Unakoti is located in the northeastern region of Tripura. It is famously known as Angkor Wat of Northeast and also in the local language known as Subraikhung. It is an ancient holy place associated with Shaiva worship. If you visit this place, you will see magnificent rock carving murals and also waterfalls. It is believed that these carvings, which are located in various areas, are from 7th to 9th centuries. Let me also tell you that Unakoti means 1 less than 1 crore in Hindi and Bengali. When we take a look at our question, we know statement number 1 is incorrect. It is not yet a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but it is added to the tentative list. Statement number 2 is correct because among the various rock cut carvings in Unakoti are Shiva and also figure of Lord Ganesha. The central Shiva head is known as Unakotishwara Kalbhairava. And we've already discussed that this place has Shaivite rock carvings. Now coming to statement number 3. The Ashokashtami festival is one of the most important festivals of Tripura, especially at the Unakoti hills. This festival is celebrated annually during the months of March and April, and both tribals as well as non-tribals participate in this Ashokashtami Mela. So statement number 3 becomes incorrect. It is not organized once in 5 years but annually. Therefore, the right answer to our question would be option A, 1 only. Moving on to question number 3. The 30 into 30 targets are seen in news in the context of option A, Global Clean Energy Action Forum, option B, BRICS Summit, option C, UN Biodiversity Conference, option D, the Energy and Resource Institute's World Sustainable Development Summit. Why this question? See, this article in the Indian Express newspaper today talks about the recent biodiversity commitment. Let me give you a short background to this. The signatories to the CBD, or the Convention on Biological Diversity, that was signed in the year 1993, meet every 2 years. They work on a global plan to halt biodiversity loss and also to restore natural ecosystems. The recent meeting at Montreal was the 15th edition of this conference. That is exactly why it is called as COP15, or the 15th Conference of Parties. The Montreal Conference has delivered a new agreement called the Global Biodiversity Framework. And this contains 4 goals and 23 targets that have to be achieved by the year 2030. And the most significant part of these 4 goals and 23 targets in the Global Biodiversity Framework is what is commonly known as the 30 into 30 targets. What is this 30 into 30 target? It is a commitment to protect at least 30% of the world's lands, oceans and coastal areas by the year 2030. That is to ensure that restoration activities are started on at least 30% of the degraded land or marine ecosystems by the year 2030. So the right answer to our question would be UN Biodiversity Conference. Now let us take up question number 4. Consider the following statements with respect to Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity, also known as IPEF. Number 1, it is an initiative that aims to strengthen economic partnership among participating countries in the Indo-Pacific region. Number 2, it was launched by the US President in 2022. Number 3, all ASEAN members are the members of IPEF. How many of the given statements is or are correct? Why this question? This article in the PIB today has a reference to the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework for Prosperity. And that is why this question. See, the Union Minister of Commerce and Industry and other IPEF partner countries participated in the virtual ministerial meeting on economic benefits for IPEF recently. But what exactly is this IPEF? See, this is an economic initiative that was launched by the United States President Joe Biden in the year 2022. This was launched with the primary aim to strengthen economic partnership among participating countries in the Indo-Pacific region. And this has 4 pillars of work. What are they? They are fair and resilient trade, supply chain resilience, infrastructure, clean energy and decarbonization, tax and anti-corruption. So, it basically works on shared objectives around trade facilitation, standards for digital economy, technology, supply chain resiliency, clean energy, worker standards and also other areas of shared interests. So statement number 1 is correct. It was launched to strengthen economic partnership in the Indo-Pacific region. Statement number 2 is also correct. It was launched by the US President in May 2022. But statement number 3 here is not correct. When we take a look here, all the ASEAN member nations are not the members of IPEF as well. For example, Laos, Myanmar and Cambodia are not the members of IPEF. So statement number 3 becomes incorrect and the right answer to our question would be option B, 2 statements only. Now let us take up a previous year question from Prelims paper 2017. Which of the following is or are famous for sun temples? Number 1, Arasavalli. Number 2, Amarkantak. Number 3, Omkareshwar. Select the correct answer using the code given below. The answer to this question would be A1 only. Why? Arasavalli in Andhra Pradesh has one of the prominent sun temples or Surya Narayan temple. So we know this is famous for sun temples, while Omkareshwar temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva, and the temple at Amarkantak is dedicated to Goddess Narmada and Lord Shiva. So these two are not sun temples. Therefore, the right answer is option A. Now let us take up the fact of the day for today, which is Ayurswasthya Yojana. What is the context? This article in the PIB today has a reference to the Ayurswasthya Yojana, and that is why we've picked this up for discussion. See, the Ministry of Ayush is running this central sector scheme known as Ayurswasthya Yojana. And this scheme has been launched to popularize Ayush treatments of various diseases. What does Ayush stand for? It stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy. So Ayush Ministry deals with education and development of alternate system of medicine. Now this scheme here has two components. The first component is Ayush Public Health Initiatives. The objective of the PHI component of Ayurswasthya Yojana is to promote Ayush interventions for community healthcare. In addition, the efficacy of Ayush systems will also be documented so that it can be taken up in larger scale for implementation in the National Health Program. The second component is upgradation of facilities to Center of Excellence. Under the Center of Excellence component of Ayurswasthya Yojana, financial assistance is provided to eligible individual organizations or institutes for establishing and upgrading their functions as well as facilities for research and development activities in Ayush. By this, we know that the government has been taking various different steps to promote this alternate system of medicine, which is Ayush. Some of the other steps that have been taken are the launch of National Ayush Mission, which has been launched to ensure better access to Ayush services, increase in the number of Ayush hospitals and dispensaries, and also inclusion of Ayush in National Program for Prevention and Control of Cancer, Diabetes, Cardiovascular Diseases, and Stroke. That is all for today. Thank you for being with us. Keep watching and keep learning.